Hey guys, welcome to another episode here with Queen City Reefs and more. Today's video is going to be just an update on these tanks. I'm gonna go around and give you an update, a real quick update on each one. Let's go ahead and start with the Mega Matrix. Let me turn this around. One of the last videos that I did was of Dosing Rally and Kick Ick Pro. And it did take a toll on my SPS. The green bird's nest did perfectly fine. The green bird nest SPS there has been growing like crazy, but when I started dosing the medication, it actually started not bleaching, but all the polyps were in and it seemed like it was on the verge of death. We have another one that fell off. I'll let you know why in a minute. That used to be greenish and it turned brown again, but it's not dead. Right there, very middle of the screen, is what I believe is to be a strawberry shortcake who turned brown, but I can see the colors coming back. Right behind the bird's nest, right there, that one used to be brown polyps with like a green inside and it browned out, but it's not dead yet, so I believe it to be bouncing back. This one was the one I loved, beautiful colors, yellow, greens, pinks and all that, but it also started browning out and I believe to be coming back. Believe it or not, the bubblegum digitata died, the green slimer back there died. I had a few more on this rock too on these sides that died. As always, did perfectly fine. The anemones did shrink, but now they're fully extended. These mushrooms were looking very pale and they're starting to come back. This is a banana something, an encrusting SPS, which also browned out, but it's starting to come back, as you can see. These mushrooms here started coming back. They were all shriveled, who my daughter calls
Mr. Peas.
What's his name?
Mr. Peas.
So my daughter calls this green carpet anemone Mr. Peas. It didn't seem to phase it at all. And so the big update here is I decided to remove all the fish, so I took off all the rock. It took all the energy out of me to take these rocks. They are super duper heavy, especially like these two right here. And then the 3 feet arc, it was super heavy to put it in and to take it out and then to put it in. And so, I mean, I got it all done in one day, but man. So the point of that was to get all the fish out, that they are all spread out through all of these tanks. They're doing a lot better. I have lost about 2 in the QT tanks. I did lose the Achilles and the powder blue in this tank. I should have listened to my instinct and should have taken them out way sooner. Should not have trusted this medication. I don't recommend it. I mean, I'll be completely honest. I don't recommend it. Maybe it worked for some other things and not for what I had. I've had what I believe to be velvet before, and there's no way I would have been able to get all these fish to survive in those QT tanks if it was velvet. All these quarantine tanks are at 1.009 hyposalinity, and I dose Seachem Paragard once a day. I'm at my week and a half of Paragard, and I'll be dosing that for another week for sure. And then I'm gonna leave it just in hyposalinity and then bring it back up, but I haven't bought any fish. I'm not planning on buying any fish until I can fully get these fish to recover, and then put them back in here, and then I'll start using those tanks again for quarantining. So that's the update on here. As you can see, I changed my scape a little bit. This is not the final. I am thinking of taking out these 2 pieces with the anemones that are in here so that I can leave a space in between and have 2 separate areas. It looked a lot better when I was putting it in. I noticed that without these it looked a lot better. I plan on picking this arc a little bit back up so that it can actually be straight, I guess you could say. Being that I'm not in a hurry right now because I'm waiting for this tank to recover before I put corals or anything like that. I'm not worried about rescaping this to what I would like for it to be, but it's not going to change much. I'm thinking that I just have too much rock in here. I'll be removing that rock. I'll be removing possibly that rock, the rocks that are the anemones are in, and maybe that's it. I believe that to be it. I have not decided what I will do with the anemones. I do have another tank that I was going to do a new series on, nano build. Possibly will use that tank to put these anemones in and make it not a clown harem because it's not big enough to have a bunch of clowns, but you know, maybe about a total of 5 storm black storm clowns, and with these anemones in there, and then start buying more anemones to kind of fill the 25 gallon with nothing but anemones. But yeah, that's it. I was able to get everything out. I don't recommend Ruby Reef Rally Pro or Kick It Pro. Did not work for me, but that's the update on this tank, guys. Let's move over to the Peninsula. So in the Peninsula, I'm going through an algae phase. It's a lot better now that there's no fish in here, and I'm assuming it's because there's no nutrients, but I can't seem to get it to go away. I can't seem to get the chaeto to stay alive. It's the refugium area has been taken over by a lot of hair algae, by a lot of cyanobacteria, by some of the chaeto that is there. It just looks like a different types of algae. There is quite a bit of algae up here. I mean, if you just look closely, you'll see this brown algae. The algae that you see all over the sand is up here. Now, I know you're probably thinking, why don't I vacuum this? Well, I do. I vacuum. When this first started, I would vacuum this, and it would look a lot better, but it would come back within 2-3 days, and I'm just not gonna. I don't have the time to vacuum every 2 to 3 days. I was doing water changes once every 2 weeks, and I was vacuuming it at that point. The last water change I did not vacuum them because, as you can see, I took out all the fish from here too. I don't think this tank had ick, but I believe it might have had flukes from the larger white dots that it would have. The fins that looked a little bit like they just looked ugly on some of the fish, and the heavy breathing. But there was not really much scratching, but I figured, you know what? I've taken the time to take those fish out. I'm gonna take these fish out. I wanna quarantine all of them. I do not wanna do cross-contamination in case, let's say I got rid of everything there, but left it as is here. I needed to take care of the whole problem. What is new in here, I don't know if I've done updates on this tank to show off the corals. So those that know the corals that I bought from the tour that we did for the RA Sock group, know some of the corals that I bought. And so the one that had like 12 heads, that was an orange hammer, has taken a toll. And you might think that it's because of the algae, but it actually has been taking a toll. Look this way since I put it in here for quite a while. So when I had it in quarantine, you notice some of the pictures that it was very fluffy, very nice. I moved this to the top of the room because I decided to put up the quarantine, the 30-gallon quarantine, and just use the tank upstairs as a quarantine tank. It was doing well there, and then it just started looking bad, so I started doing weekly water changes upstairs to try to make sure the parameters were all well, but I feel like it was too late. Now, the odd part is sometimes the polyps come out and they just look like miniature hammer, mostly in the morning and at night. So I've reduced the lights to 30%, hoping that maybe that's what's causing it. That's why this tank looks so dark. This one was in that same tank and started taking a toll, but this one's actually coming back. You'll see some orange in those polyps, so I'm hoping that makes a full recovery soon. We all know that bad things can happen really fast, but it takes such a long time to recover. The purple and green wall hammer there's always been doing great. This 24 karat gold hammer, I have not been able to get it back. Polyps are there, but they're very shriveled up. That orange one has always done great. That green one has been doing great for quite some time. I have this Duncan, which started off as a few polyps and now it's a whole colony. Love it. There's this frog spawn, I don't remember the name of it. I actually just bought this one yesterday. Forgot what the name of that was. I have a few SPS, so I have that one that's doing really good here, growing a new branch actually, because it used to be just a stick. Then right behind that is a Bill Murray that I had not noticed that it fell to the bottom of this tank and wasn't getting enough light, so the color went away and half of it died, but half of it is coming back. This one, I found it tipped over on this, so a few like 2 little branches were dead, but the rest of it is fine. Then I have this cotton candy torch or something like that, is growing a new head. This purple with green tips, doing very well. That guy up here is doing well. That's a green toadstool. I was told that it was a long polyp green toadstool. I don't see large polyps on this one, so maybe they got me. Here's a long tentacle plate coral. There's some acans that are doing really well. That's a bowerbanky doing well. A very short polyp gonipora doing very well. Let's go to the other side. We have this. I have to put it back on the rock. They tend to move a lot. The short tentacle plate coral. Just got this trachea along with that other one that I showed you back here yesterday. This red gonipora, which has always done really great for me. I have a green one, and right under there that I have to glue these down because my urchin keeps picking it up, and I have to get it off its body, put it back, and then so on and so forth. This red lobophilia and another long plate tentacle coral. That's it for this tank. After seeing the success that I feel that I'm having with the Trident in the Mega Matrix, right before I dosed all this crazy stuff, I should have known better and not dosed anything. My SPS were looking great in that tank. And then I started, I mean, the fact that after the dosing, I was able to notice that the consumption of alkalinity was not that much, as I was having to dose a lot of alkalinity to the Mega Matrix before the dosing, because these corals and the coralline algae, especially the coralline algae, were just consuming that like crazy. The odd part is they were consuming more alkalinity than they were of calcium, but so be it. The results that were looking really great when I was having these SPS. So now once I can get this tank back on track, and to me back on track would be that all the corals that have browned out start looking great again, then I'm gonna add more SPS pieces. Let me show you which SPS pieces, and that will bring us to the update of the Red Sea upstairs. So here we're walking into the Red Sea. I redid the escape again, not because I wasn't happy with the one before, but I took out all the shrimp that I had in here so I can put it in the tanks downstairs, and all the snails and all that. And so to do that, you have to, tear it apart. But let me show you what I have here. So we'll start. Here are all the SPS pieces that I currently have. We'll start with the left. I don't know the name of these. They do have a name. I have to look for them. No name. These are the front. The three front ones have no name. Now the back one right here is supposed to be a TMNT, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. That one's a no name, but my wife loved it, and that's the other what I was told was a Walt Disney. So, oh, and then we have no name. This is the one that also was downstairs. I've shown you this before in one of my videos where I was in love with the colors of this Millie, but it also browned out during the medication, the Mega Matrix, and I brought it upstairs to see if it would recover faster than it has been downstairs. Here's another one I got. That's a blue one with like yellow polyps. I don't know the name. There's another one, no name. I found a piece that had broken off of the bubblegum digitata, and I brought it up here to see if it would recover. We have another one, no name, and another one right there, no name. So I know that's not fun, guys. I know y'all probably want, like, I have a lot of no names, but when I look at them in their tanks and I put the orange glasses, or even without the orange glasses, and I see some kind of color, distinct color, then I will pick them. The odd part is, one thing I've learned here is that everybody's system is different. Some of these tanks that I've gotten it out from have either radiance or have had aftermarket lights like the Viper or whatever the case is, and those bring out different colors, and in these Hydras they look completely different, but that's fine. I'll move them down to the radions, and then hopefully they turn out as beautiful as they looked in their tanks. Either way, guys, this is the update. So nothing new. I know by now we would have probably wished that we had more corals, that the Mega Matrix was more established. I plan on doing this channel for a very, very long time, so Those that continue to follow me eventually will see some progress. I try not to get frustrated. This hobby is supposed to be fun, so I'm not gonna tell you that I haven't gotten frustrated, but I get over it quick and just move on. I thought about quitting sometimes just because like when I had to go to El Salvador when my grandmother passed away, 3 weeks without having to worry about cleaning the glass, without having to worry about changing the filters or doing a water change or any of checking the parameters. It felt like a true vacation, not having to worry about any of that. My wife was the one doing the feeding, and that was about it, just feeding the fish every day. When I came back, I had to get back into that routine. I don't see myself without it. I mean, like I mentioned, most of y'all know, I moved here from Texas here to North Carolina, and we haven't made as many friends as you would think in the 4 years that we've been here. And so, the ones that we do have as friends, they're awesome, they're amazing. We go out with them from time to time, but most of the time is spent here at home, and that's where the whole I don't know what I would do without this hobby, because it keeps me sane, stress levels down, can sit here and just stare at it for a while, and you know how it goes. Anyways, I won't bore you with the rest of this. I hope you enjoyed this update. I will try to make something more formal and do a talk over or whatever the case is for y'all. This was more of the style that I like to do, vlogging. So those that are watching, I'm curious to know, how many tanks do you have total in your house? Do you have any freshwater? Because that's one other thing that I've been thinking of, setting up a freshwater tank. I love the planted ones with all the green and all that. So do any of y'all have a freshwater tank? Leave the comment below, let me know, and I'll see you on the next one, guys. And like always, I hope you hit the thumbs up button. It really will help me out. It doesn't cost you a thing. Subscribe to this channel and share. Alright guys, catch you next time.